Hello, family members. I hope you're having a nice day today. I'm having kind of a weird one myself. Um, I've got a bad headache from some blood pressure issues that I'm trying to get my meds adjusted to fix. So, didn't really have a whole lot of gas in the tank for my normal kind of commentary videos. But I wanted to read at least some of this wonderful article that I got from the Zoteo newsletter, free in my email, from a professor talking about the campus protests. The reason that I wanted to read this was because I really feel like this is a subject that needs to be uh, elevated, and I also feel like mainstream media is really kind of misrepresenting what's going on. And when I was reading through this article, this is what I wanted to say, but better, more eloquently written, and probably, better researched for sure, since we're talking about somebody who actually really knows what they're talking about. So I'd like to read to you at least some excerpts from Professor Gwen's um, article here. So, the article title is A Student Rebellion Against the Hypocrisy of Their Elders, which I love. And a subtitle is The Students Protesting Against Israel's Genocidal War in Gaza Are on the Right Side of History as Other Student Movements in the Past. So, we're going to start here. Obviously, we're going to start with a picture of his actual university. Student and other protesters calling for a ceasefire in Gaza uh, gather at the University of Southern California's Alumni Park on April 24th, 2024. And then let's get into the article. The violent crackdown on students protesting against Israel's genocidal war on Gaza reveals the stark hypocrisy of our political and academic leaders at our colleges and universities, including my own. Instead of first turning to dialogue and debate, the very skills and values universities should promote, school administrators have turned to police, extreme discipline, and complying with a mainstream consensus that seems more interested in suppressing the criticism of Israeli and American policy than protecting students. From Columbia University to my own University of Southern California, peaceful student encampments in common university areas have been dismantled by police, with hundreds of students arrested. Some have been suspended, evicted from dormitories, and threatened with expulsion and criminal conviction. At UT Austin, state troopers threw a Fox cameraman to the ground and arrested him. At Emory University, the chair of philosophy, Noel McAfee, was arrested by a police officer wearing I don't know how to pronounce that, as if he were conducting an anti-terrorism raid. Another Emory professor, Caroline Folin, who sought to protect students being arrested, was wrestled to the ground by two police officers, handcuffed and charged with battery. These student protests against a war that has killed over 35,000 Palestinians, at least two-thirds of whom are women and children, are what professors and administrators love to call a teachable moment. Unfortunately, most universities and colleges are failing their academic principals, their students, and their faculty. I wish I could say I was surprised, but after three decades in academia, I am not. I was arrested twice in college for political protests more than 30 years ago. Along with other Asian Americans and our allies, I participated in sit-ins and occupied the chancellor's office, calling for more diversified curriculum and faculty that better represented our community. I graduated with 4 misdemeanors, two each for resisting arrest and trespassing. I was lucky I was not expelled or suspended, but I was also at UC Berkeley at a time when the administration understood that these were not appropriate punishments for young people who were committed to the very principles of truth, justice, debate, and open mindedness that universities represent. I wish I could say the same for the administrators at universities and colleges today, including my own, but too many administrators have chosen to deploy police clad in riot gear and wielding tear gases and tasers, sniper rifles, and armored vehicles against students. On my own campus, the USC administration canceled the speech of its valedictorian after pro-Israeli groups on and off campus labeled her anti-Semitic for including a link to her Instagram to a website that called for the abolition of Israel. She minored in resistance to genocide, offered through the Advanced Center of Genocide Research. The center's founding director called her one of the most empathetic students he had ever taught. She said that she planned to speak at the commencement. She said she planned to speak to the commencement audience about hope and human rights. She might or might not have brought up Gaza or Palestine war and genocide, but even if she did, should that have been a reason to cancel her? The university administration offered unspecified threats to safety so severe that it could not protect her or the commencement ceremony, even though former President Barack Obama had attended the commencement the year before and presumably required heightened safety measures. It is difficult not to believe that safety was a pretext for the university to avoid controversy that might antagonize pro-Israel students, family members, and outsiders. But the real consequences of such a controversy would not have been community protest. Instead, it would have been political blowback from Congress, donors, and trustees. This strategy of avoidance and appeasement is doomed to failure. Columbia University president submitted completely to Republican demands to discipline her faculty and students, but this did not prevent Representative Elise Stefanik and House Speaker Mike Johnson from demanding her resignation. Republicans will not be satisfied until students are being clubbed and tear-gassed in law and order spectacle that will please Benjamin Netanyahu and the GOP base. But the right-wing reaction against student protesters is not only about their stance on Israel and Gaza, which includes their willingness to declare the war a genocide and demand divestment from Israel and the ending of further aid. Instead, the right wing is stirred in a moral panic around anti-Semitism, using Jewish students and their feelings of being uncomfortable and threatened as a reason to crack down on protesting students. Racist and anti-Semitic threats are wrong and should be treated appropriately, which is to say, through academic, disciplinary, and legal methods targeted at the individuals who issue such threats, not through the deployment of riot police against masses of peaceful protesters. But the big difference exists between being threatened and being uncomfortable, and the critics of the protesters, the anti-war movement in general, blur the two. This happens by conflating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, even though many student protesters are themselves Jewish. This is what some have called weaponized anti-Semitism, which places more value on how some students feel uncomfortable than how Palestinians are actually being killed en masse by Israel, whose weapons are supplied by the United States. Being uncomfortable is not necessarily a problem, and certainly not enough of a problem to shut down free speech and academic debate. Discomfort can be useful, and it is even necessary, for us to argue and question our assumptions and those of others, leading to greater intellectual, moral, and political clarity. These things are supposed to happen at colleges college campuses, and that's what the college speaker might have provoked. Now, this goes on considerably longer, so I'm going to kind of stop there, but I did just think that kind of gives you a taste of what I was thinking as well. And I, I think we need to reject the narrative that the student protesters are out there trying to do something bad. You know, they're out there trying to stop a genocide. And anytime you get a large group of people together, there might be a few bad actors, but that does not mean that the entire group is, responsible for everything that those people do. If someone comes in bad faith and acts in bad faith, that's on them. The people that are there that are acting in good faith should be treated in good faith. And that's not happening. I've been pretty disappointed in the legacy media's covering of this, of being like, oh, where are the adults in the room, and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, I want you to understand something. College students are adults. Like, almost all of them are over 18. There's very few people who are at college in this time of year that are under 18. They are adults. And it's so disgusting to ask where are the adults in the room, and therefore dismiss the validity of their concerns like that. That's not okay. And so I hope that this is something that we can continue talking about, and all other alternate spaces of communication, since the mainstream media doesn't seem to want to be honest about it. I think that corporate media is very afraid of the bottom line. And there's a lot of money riding on things staying the way they are. A lot of people want to go back to the status quo. They want to go back to being able to ignore the disgusting apartheid state that is Israel and Palestine. And it's just not going to happen. We've come too far, I think. The Israeli government has absolutely no motivation to do anything other than prolong this war, because Benjamin Netanyahu and those who are in his government with him are very likely to lose their power the moment that they can't use the war as a pretext to stay in place. And so they know that this is their political life, and they are willing to commit a genocide in order to save their own necks. And the United States is going to have to do something. I'm sorry, President Biden. I know, I'm absolutely certain that you have grave concerns about escalating tensions in the region. But we can't continue to support Israel with no questions. It's not acceptable. And the sooner we contend with what that means, the better. Because there's a lot at stake in November. And if we turn off too many voters, if we let apathy rise again, and lose the passion and the political awakening that the overturning of Roe created, then we're going to have such a poor outcome that, I don't know, it's not even worth thinking about, honestly. Like, we need to get this right, people. And so, call and write your elected representatives, all of them, and make sure that they're aware how important this issue is. It's the most important thing you can do. So, Anyway, take care of yourselves. I've got a cat to pet, and he is really... he's not willing to wait any longer. Sorry, guys. Have a great week. Bye.